Thanksgiving is around the corner, and if you want to make this year's feast unforgettable, stay tuned. We're counting down the top 10 must-try recipes that belong on everyone's Thanksgiving bucket list. Get ready to level up your holiday table with these classic and creative dishes. Welcome to Bucket List Adventures. Today we're diving into an ultimate culinary adventure, a Thanksgiving feast that will wow your friends and family. Whether you're cooking for a crowd or just a few loved ones, these recipes are guaranteed to impress. So grab a seat and let's dig into the best dishes for your holiday table. Listen up, you want to nail the centerpiece of this Thanksgiving feast, the turkey. It's not rocket science, but you can easily turn it into a dry, rubbery mess if you're a complete moron in the kitchen. First off, forget those fancy pre-brined birds. We're going old school. Get yourself a good quality fresh turkey and give it a good rinse inside and out. Pat it dry, and I mean bone dry, with paper towels. Moisture is the enemy of crispy skin, you hear me? Now for the flavour, because a bland turkey is about as appealing as a wet napkin. We're talking a generous knob of butter under the skin, along with a symphony of aromatics, rosemary, thyme, garlic, salt and pepper. Don't be shy, really get in there and massage those flavours into the bird. Next, into a preheated oven it goes at a steady 325 degrees Fahrenheit. Remember, low and slow is the key to a succulent turkey. Serve it up with a dollop of cranberry sauce and try not to screw up the gravy, yeah? Right, let's talk stuffing. This isn't some soggy afterthought, it's a bloody masterpiece waiting to happen, and we're not talking about that boxed rubbish, we're making it from scratch. First, grab some good quality bread, none of that cheap plastic-wrapped nonsense. We want something with a bit of texture, like a crusty sourdough or a ciabatta. Cut it into cubes and leave it out overnight to dry out. Now for the good stuff, we need some flavor bombs to elevate this stuffing to a legendary status. Start by sautéing some finely chopped celery and onion in a generous knob of butter until softened. Then, throw in a handful of fresh sage and cook for another minute or two until fragrant. Next, combine the bread cubes with the sautéed vegetables in a large bowl. In a separate pan, heat some chicken or vegetable broth with a splash of cream. Pour this over the bread mixture and gently combine, making sure not to overwork it. Bake it in a preheated oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 minutes. Mashed potatoes. It's a Thanksgiving staple, but so many of you Muppets manage to screw it up. Lumpy, gluey, bland, and it's an absolute crime against spuds. First off, choose the right potato. We want something fluffy like a Yukon Gold or a russet. Peel them, chop them into even-sized chunks, and rinse them well. Now boil those bad boys until they're fork tender. Don't even think about overcooking them or you'll end up with watery mash. Drain them well and let them steam for a few minutes to get rid of excess moisture. Here's where things get serious. We need to invest in a good potato racer or food mill. None of that mashing with a fork nonsense. While the potatoes are still hot, pass them through the ricer or food mill into a large bowl. Add in a generous knob of butter, and I mean generous, along with some hot cream, a touch of garlic, and salt and pepper to taste. Gently fold everything together until combined. Maple glazed carrots stop boiling vegetables to death. Carrots, they're often relegated to the sidelines, boiled to within an inch of their lives and served up as an afterthought. Well, not on my watch. We're going to elevate those humble carrots to superstar status with a simple maple glaze that will have everyone begging for seconds. First things first, ditch the pot of boiling water. We're roasting these carrots to bring out their natural sweetness. Scrub them clean, trim the ends, and toss them with a drizzle of olive oil, a pinch of salt and pepper, and a generous drizzle of maple syrup. Spread the carrots in a single layer on a baking sheet and roast them in a preheated oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 to 25 minutes or until tender and slightly caramelized. Toss them with the maple glaze and sprinkle with some chopped fresh parsley for a pop of color. Green bean casserole with crispy onions. This ain't your grandma's casserole, green bean casserole. It's a Thanksgiving classic, but let's be honest, it's often a bit bland and mushy. We're going to shake things up and give this retro dish a serious flavor upgrade. First, let's ditch those soggy canned green beans. We're using fresh green beans, blanched until crisp, tender and shocked in ice water to preserve their vibrant green color. Now for the sauce. We're ditching the canned soup and making our own creamy, cheesy sauce that will make you want to lick the bowl clean. Fold the blanched green beans into the cheese sauce and transfer the mixture to a baking dish. Sprinkle the crispy onions over the green bean mixture and bake the casserole in a preheated oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 to 25 minutes or until bubbly and heated through. The result is a creamy, cheesy, crunchy casserole that will have everyone asking for the recipe. Sweet potato casserole with marshmallows. Don't be afraid of a little sweetness. Sweet potato casserole, it's the ultimate Thanksgiving comfort food, but let's be honest, it can be a bit too sweet and one-dimensional. We're going to add a touch of sophistication and balance out the sweetness with a hint of spice and a touch of citrus. First, roast those sweet potatoes until they're tender and caramelized. This will intensify their natural sweetness and add a lovely depth of flavor. Once they're cool enough to handle, scoop out the flesh and mash it until smooth. We're adding a touch of orange zest and juice to brighten things up, along with a pinch of cinnamon and nutmeg for warmth and spice. Spread the sweet potato mixture into a baking dish and top it with mini marshmallows. Bake it in a preheated oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 to 25 minutes or until the marshmallows are golden brown and gooey. Homemade cranberry sauce. Ditch the can, cranberry sauce. That jiggly, gelatinous blob that comes in a can, bin it. We're making cranberry sauce from scratch, and it's going to be a revelation. Grab yourself some fresh cranberries, give them a good rinse, and discard any that are squishy or discolored. Now into a saucepan they go, along with some sugar, a splash of orange juice, and a cinnamon stick for warmth and spice. Bring the mixture to a simmer over medium heat, stirring occasionally until the cranberries burst and the sauce thickens slightly. Don't be afraid to taste it and adjust the sugar to your liking. Once the sauce is cooked, remove it from the heat and discard the cinnamon stick. The result is a cranberry sauce that's bursting with fresh cranberry flavor with a hint of sweetness and spice. Listen up, because we're about to unlock the secrets to light, fluffy and utterly irresistible dinner rolls. These aren't your average store-bought rolls. No, sir. These are made with love, patience and a whole lot of butter. First, let's wake up the yeast. Combine warm milk, sugar and yeast. Stir and let it sit until foamy. Add melted butter, eggs, sugar, salt and flour. Knead until smooth and elastic. Place in a greased bowl, cover and let rise. Punch down and divide into portions. Bake at 375 degrees Fahrenheit until golden brown. Pumpkin pie, it's the quintessential Thanksgiving dessert, but it's often relegated to the realm of bland and boring. We're going to change that, starting with the star of the show, the pumpkin puree. Forget that canned stuff, we're making our own. Grab a pie pumpkin, scoop out the seeds and roast it until tender. Once it's cool enough to handle, scoop out the flesh and puree it until smooth. The difference in flavor is astounding. In a large bowl, whisk together the pumpkin puree, eggs, sugar, spices, cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger and a pinch of cloves, and a touch of salt. Pour the filling into the prepared pie crust and bake it in a preheated oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 45 to 55 minutes or until the center is just set. While the pie is baking, let's whip up a batch of spiced whipped cream. In a chilled bowl, beat heavy cream with a touch of sugar, vanilla extract, and a pinch of cinnamon until soft peaks form. The result is a pumpkin pie that's both comforting and sophisticated, with a perfect balance of sweet and spicy flavors. Pecan pie. It's rich, decadent, and utterly irresistible. But let's be honest, it can be a bit too sweet and one-dimensional. We're going to add a touch of complexity and balance out the sweetness with a hint of salt and a splash of bourbon. First, let's toast those pecans. Spread them out on a baking sheet and toast them in a preheated oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 5 to 7 minutes, or until fragrant. This will intensify their nutty flavor and add a lovely crunch to the pie. In a large bowl, whisk together eggs, corn syrup, brown sugar, melted butter, a splash of bourbon, trust me on this one, and a pinch of salt. Stir in the toasted pecans until well combined. The result is a pecan pie that's both decadent and sophisticated, with a perfect balance of sweet, salty, and nutty flavors. And there you have it, 10 bucket list. Thanksgiving recipes to make your feast unforgettable. Which one are you most excited to try? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. if you loved these ideas. Remember, Thanksgiving is about more than just the food. It's about spending time with loved ones, sharing stories, and creating memories that will last a lifetime. Thanks for watching Bucket List Adventures. Have an amazing Thanksgiving.